going to perhaps do it right in front of people,
Okay, let's do that.
right? Surprise. Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindset Monday. We are live,
How do you know we're live? I
live.
can't tell.
See where it says custom streaming service
Oh yeah,
recording? See
right
up in the
there. We
corner
are
there?
live. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm Shelley Butler.
I'm Yves Doucet.
And without our producer, we are
Live.
just okay.
It's a lot easier when you have a producer right in front of you for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Like us,
because
we
they tell
missed
you
you guys.
we missed
Yeah,
it. We
yeah.
missed it. Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
How was your
Surprise.
weekend? A surprise.
My weekend was slow. I had a really nice slow weekend.
Is that good or
Two
bad?
weekends in a row. I love a slow weekend.
Hmm.
I do. Had amazing walk. Went to Shediac with my
Nice.
sisters,
I
and we
saw that.
walked through
Mhm.
the trails. It was so nice. We stopped and got an ice cream
Oh,
at
that's
Lost
nice.
and Found. Yeah, yeah.
They have good ice cream.
They did
Giant
up
ice
a
cream. Yeah.
London fog and a blueberry
Oh,
twist, and
nice.
it was, yeah, it was absolutely amazing. It had it in their homemade cone.
Hmm.
Yeah, in that new little coffee space in Shediac.
Okay.
It is a really nice
Hmm.
space.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Donuts, ice cream, and
Donuts.
coffee shop. And the coffee shop has amazing lunches.
Okay.
Yeah, food and stuff. So, yeah, there's a little free plug for them. And then my husband surprised me and took me out for supper, date night.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yes.
Where'd you
And
go?
we went to Moxie's.
Oh, that's nice.
We ordered a old-fashioned smoked. Have you ever got a
What is that?
smoked old-fashioned?
Like, okay, a drink, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's an old
Mhm.
fashioned, and they, with like a simple syrup, and then they
Nice.
put like a wooden top over your cup and light it on
Oh, yeah, yes,
fire.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. He really
Did-
liked it though. Leonard
Oh,
really liked it.
and did you like it?
Well, for me, it was every time I would take a drink, and of course the
Oh,
wood really stays. I'm not sure what kind of wood it was, but it was like I was at a bonfire.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, he
That's like,
really liked
yeah.
it. I'm not, yeah, it was okay. It was okay. It was fun to watch,
Hmm.
there's something about having a drink done in front of you that it's fun.
People are looking more for events now, like specialty or surprises in life, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
surprise of like lost and found, or the surprise of going and getting an old fashioned served that way.
Served
Yeah,
that
or
way.
even that coffee shop that we're talking about earlier on today.
Yes, that looks like a
What's the
cartoon.
name? Looks like a cartoon. I forget what the
Ah,
name is,
what
but it
is the
looks like
name
a
of it?
cartoon. And I went there last Friday. It Friday? Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is like surreal. Like the dimensions like take you away from your mind and into the present moment. And that's what surprises do. And I think people are less and less interested in doing the same thing. They're looking for surprises. And that's where our theme is for today. Our theme is like, what does surprise have to do with running a business? What does surprise have to do um, with your life, actually? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Surprise.
Yeah,
That's what I want to talk about anyway.
yeah,
Surprises. Mhm.
yeah. I like it because as we grow older, we have a whole lot less surprises.
That's not true.
Well, it
That's not true. It's true. Like, why don't okay, it's true, but it's
It's
not
true.
true.
Well,
Like
it's true
life.
because we do not live in the moment.
Right. So we're
Yeah.
less surprised because we keep sticking to the same thing
Yeah.
and seeing the same way. Like, keep in
Yeah.
mind that we don't see with our eyes, we see with our minds. As you get older, you get more and more memories, and everybody and everything seems to say, oh, I've seen that character before. I've seen that behavior before. I've seen that result. Like you predict, because don't forget the mind is always analyzing like and predicting. It's a predictive behavior kind of thing, your mind. It's always trying to resolve, say, I know where this is going. And as you get older, you've experienced every single emotion in your life. So you know this relation is not going to work. You know this product's not going to work. You know this direction is not going to work. You're stuck in your knowing.
You are
And
stuck in your
and there's
knowing.
no more surprises. That
How
is
many of you prepare for a brainstorming session?
Right. And how could you prepare for a brainstorm?
Well,
It's
you shouldn't
you
prepare
should
for.
not.
So what happens to our brainstorming session
It's not a surprise.
is it never can be a surprise because somebody feels that they need to lead that brainstorming session.
So, like, what I like about your explanation of going to Moxie's and to like Lost and Found was like you were surprised about that you described the cone, the homemade cone, and you described
Mm,
the flavor of the ice cream. You were surprised, right?
yeah.
And then you went to Moxie's and you're surprised the way they served the drink and you smelled it. That is being in the moment. Then you have a moment. You have a new, oh, I wasn't expecting that. But life happens whether you're here or not,
Life
right?
happens whether you're here or not. So I got
Yeah.
to tell you something that Leonard and I have discovered. So um, we go to Moxie's. Moxie's busy, and there's only room in the bar.
Okay.
Now, before years ago, Leonard and I would say, "Nah, see you later."
Hmm.
Right? We're not going to sit at the bar.
Really? What changed?
We went to a place called the Split Pea in Lunenburg. And I don't know if
Oh,
you've ever been in Lunenburg, but
yes.
it is a culinary divine experience. Every restaurant, every place. And what we didn't realize is while we booked our hotel for a few nights, we did not book any restaurants.
Oops.
Oops. Don't ever do that if you're going to Lunenburg because
Oh,
it
really?
is packed.
Oh, okay.
So while I looked at the restaurants, I never thought in a million years I'd need to book anything.
Yeah.
I wanted to play it by ear. When we felt like going, we go. We couldn't get in anywhere.
Wow.
We got to this place called the Split Pea. They actually had two spots left at the bar. Ugh. So I said, okay, let's, do the bar because the food looked absolutely amazing. We get in front of this bar, and the bartender is doing his thing. And it is so fun. The experience of watching him continuous because this bar was hopping.
Mm.
I mean, this
Yeah.
guy was, and he had all of this mint in front of me,
Okay.
and I grow mint as well.
Oh.
And he's doing his mojitos with this
Hmm.
fresh mint. And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's so lovely." And he says, "I picked that on my way here,
Oh,
on my way to work.
nice.
I always stop and I pick my stuff on
Hmm.
the way to work." I said, "Well, that's, because mint grows
Yeah. Fairly easy here in New York,
really
right?
easy
Mm.
here in New Brunswick."
Yeah.
So, while I was kind of like, ugh, um, I was really kind of excited
Mm.
about his experiences. So he started to talk to us, and it was the whole 2 hours of this meal was talking to this gentleman at the bar. And I mean, he's flipping bottles and he's
Mm.
making things that I've never seen before. Leonard and I ate. We had the most magnificent meal at this place.
Are you guys listening to what she's saying here? She's
Mm.
describing this moment, right? And she was surprised. You were surprised with mint. And you did something that's not comfortable, like that. Oh, so I'm gonna have a bad time because I'm not sitting at
Because
my
I
own table staring at my husband.
sat at a bar stool.
Because
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so that's being on the edge and being willing to be surprised, and life gave you a surprise. So
I
you
wasn't willing to be surprised though. That was the interesting thing. And that's why I wanted to
ah
say it took me a little while of being upset being at that, right? It took me a little while. Now, wherever Leonard and I go, doesn't matter where they sit us. If they do say, there's only at the bar, we sit at the bar.
it's interesting because do we, and I'm just curious
So
how your
attached to
mind,
the outcome.
you're attached to, oh, people like me, like a CEO, don't sit at the bar. We sit at our own table. We have reservations. Is that where you went to? Or people like us don't do that? Is that what you went to?
No, I've never sat at the bar. I just thought it was extremely uncomfortable
So
to sit at
people
the
like
bar.
you guys don't sit at the
I
bar.
would never sit at the bar.
Yeah, so
I was
people see
forced to
that,
sit at
see
the
that, see
bar.
that?
Yeah.
Like we people
The
like us, this
surprise.
is where suffering comes from. And then
Yeah.
we say, "Oh, life is so boring." It's because we're not willing to be surprised.
Because we are not
Yeah.
willing to be
In
surprised.
quantum physics, you would say you've become the particle and not the wave. The wave, like the
Mm.
wave, has all possibilities. Like life, like there's this story that goes like this. It says if a tree falls into the wood and the man's not there, will he hear it? It's a joke on men not listening, if you didn't get it now. And the answer to that question, if a tree falls in the wood, of course it's going to make noise,
Yeah. Oh,
right? Whether
yeah.
you're
Big
there
noise.
or you're not there. If you're there and your tree falls, you may not listen because you're not there.
Yeah.
right? That's the joke, right? The joke
Yeah,
is when a man
absolutely.
is like with you, he's not listening at all, like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so, are you willing to be surprised? Are you listening?
Are you so attached to sitting in the booth, like to getting a booth in the restaurant or sitting at the chair that you will not take the opportunity to try something on
Right.
for size, to try something new? You know, what we learned was actually we really enjoy sitting at the bar. There's nothing cooler than watching a bartender uh
So you were
do these
surprised. You
drinks.
went on the edge. Was it a
Yeah.
big edge? Was it
No.
dangerous?
No.
Wasn't dangerous, but you were surprised.
Yeah,
Right?
totally surprised.
Yeah.
Totally surprised. Same thing happened to me when I was going to the Dominican 34 hours before we were leaving. Our resort was changed. I was pissed. I couldn't believe it because I had done so much research into this resort. I knew
Right.
exactly where
So
everything
this is
was.
where suffering, like this is where suffering, and it's more important than that. This is where suffering happens. But more importantly than that, you miss the opportunity that is presenting in front of you when you are not willing to be surprised.
And I missed the opportunity. I walked into that lobby.
Mhm.
I did not see anything but trash. I was like, "Oh, this is trash. This place
Yeah,
is
you
trash."
start to make stuff up in your
Oh,
head.
I totally made it
Yeah.
up. This is going to be awful. Do you know that Leonard and I have been back to that resort 3 times?
Okay, so this is what
It's her
happens.
favorite
So what
resort.
happens is this is really interesting. The brain says, "Oh, I'm surprised. Let's go back there and have the night another surprise," because you remember the surprise.
Yeah, you remember
Rem-
the
People
surprise.
don't remember the gift; they remember the surprise.
Yeah,
Their kids won't remember the gift; they'll remember the surprise.
yeah.
Right?
So how do you
Why?
turn this into work? How do you make sure that
Well,
you can be
so the
surprised
question I
at
would have
work?
for you guys, let's start with that.
Yeah.
Where or have you been surprised? Because it's hard to bring into work because at work you're expected to do a result. You're expected to do a job.
Yeah.
You're expected to do something and the result is expected. So there's no surprise in there because you're expected to do something.
Hmm.
But there is always a surprise. That's why it doesn't matter what you do in life. It matters that you are surprised.
Yeah.
And you can do like the most like mundane things. Like we remember went to the Ritz and the cleaners were so happy to clean. They were happy to serve. They were happy to make like you go there and they would like it was a surprise every time I came into the room. Every time.
Every time.
And then when I wake up in the morning, I surprise myself every morning. I make my bed, of course, and I roll up the cable. Like they rolled up the cable for my
Yeah.
phone on my desk, right?
I know.
It was a surprise.
Yeah.
So if you can, like, if you look at that and you say, well, how can I make it a surprise? How can I make my work a surprise? How can I make it more delicious, more like it? There's surprise in everything we do. But in life, we think, oh, if I do this, like, I'll be viewed as by people as important. So we view what we do as important. So we try to aim for delivery of perfection, aim to delivery of what you expect. Why don't we aim to deliver something we don't expect? Why
Mm.
do we aim to deliver a surprise?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
why does that matter in work? Well, the reason companies aren't growing, the reason you're not growing, the reason people get bored, they get anxious, they get depressed, is because we're not waiting or looking for the surprise. We're fixed on an outcome. If I don't do this, I will get fired. I will get reprimanded. I'll get yelled at. I'll get judged. Right? If you're in an environment where the only way that you can actually grow is to do exactly what you've been told to do, exactly the same way, exactly the same time, exactly the same way, you're going to get bored pretty fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Your day is going
Right.
to look like the same
And
day
and your
yeah,
brain,
that you had
your
yesterday.
body will say, "Well, I'm dying now, so might as well die. You'll get sick." That's what's
Yeah.
going to happen. So if you're as a business person and you're looking to become better, you have to look for the surprise.
And the only way you're going to be surprised is if you're not attached to that document coming in exactly as you see it, to that graphic coming in exactly as you see it. You have to be. See, we all have something in our head of what we believe it's going to be,
Of course,
right?
you made up
So,
stories up.
so if we're attached to it, though,
Yeah,
right? If we're attached to it, oh, if it doesn't come in and look exactly like that, I'm going to be
I'm going to
upset.
be upset.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've already set yourself up for failure, kind of thing.
absolutely.
What you want to do is you want to go look at it with fresh eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to be able
I,
to see perhaps what you didn't see before. So,
absolutely.
can you let go of your You're so sure that it should look this
Your
way.
thoughts.
Your thoughts. Yeah. Can you let go? See, the thing is you know darn well your thoughts are your truth. Your thoughts are real. Like
For
it
you,
for
but they're not real for
they're
everybody else. They're
they're
only real
well,
for you.
and to tell you the honest truth, like if you look deep into it, they're not really,
I cannot
yeah.
tell you how many times I get surprised with my thoughts. Oh, I think it's going to go that way, and it's not.
Mm,
So if you're ready to be surprised, if you're ready to be, and I'll just look at I'm going to give you a couple examples. I had a discussion with a friend of mine not too long ago, and then she stopped talking to me. And I thought, okay, I'm making stories up. She doesn't
mm.
like me, blah blah blah. People are gossiping against me, and every time I would see her, she would kind of snub me. That's what I believed. And this morning, she popped up and she made a trip to say hi. I was surprised,
Yeah.
and I told her that it's nice to see you. I'm surprised, right? I love being surprised. It's a nice Monday surprise. And so how does that work in work? Well, let's bring it back to the market. People are anticipating chaos in the market because of what's happening in the world today.
Yeah.
Now, what if you're surprised? What if you're ready for the market to go up and you're ready for the market to go down? Then you're just anticipating the surprise. And you're ready for the surprise. You're
Either
ready for
way,
right?
either
It's going
way,
to
it's
be
okay.
you can
Yeah.
make money when the market goes down. You can make money, so you buy when the market's low. If it goes up, you sell, right?
Yeah.
Like a simple answer. How does that work in work? How does that work in your office? Well, if you're anticipating an outcome, so you go to a meeting and you're anticipating this person will do certain things, I can guarantee you that that meeting is not going to go well. You're going to be in suffering, right? But if you're anticipating a surprise, then you're looking for something different. And your mind, don't remember your mind is trying to resolve a problem, right? So if you're looking for a certain outcome, you're going to be in suffering. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be upset. But if you're looking for a surprise, then you're like, or your eyes are open. You're like a kid. You're like, you're living. You say, this is going to be an interesting meeting, right? And you're
Yeah.
open for the surprise. And I've seen you do it recently. We had some changes in the office, and you're looking for the surprise. And people have surprised me, and they've surprised you,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Absolutely.
And in that
Absolutely.
surprise, and I'm going to give it to you, you seize this opportunity. Say, oh my God, that's so good. Do more of that.
Do more of
Let's do
that.
more of that. More of
Yeah.
that recipe, more of that surprise, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
open for the opportunity. But if you're not open for the opportunity, then you're going to be in suffering. You're going to be stuck in the same old way, always waiting for the table that you'll never have because it's too busy, not going to the right. So, how does that relate to opportunity? Same thing. You took an opportunity. You said, yes, we're going to sit at the bar. And
Yeah.
you were willing to be surprised.
For sure.
Whereas if you say no to that and you say, no, I'm going to wait for my table because people like us sit at table like that, you're going to be in suffering. You say, well, geez, I didn't have anything so boring. I'll never go back to that city again.
Well, you don't, you don't know. So, yeah, sometimes you just want to switch it up and that means sometimes you don't talk in that meeting. Sometimes you let other people talk. The thing is you'll find talent. People want to people want to talk about
Mm.
what they are able to do, but you as a leader, if you continue to fill that space, you don't get to discover the surprises that might be right in front of you. And this is what I've seen in this last month at Dovico. I have
Right.
seen some
Surprises.
surprises
Yeah.
that have been right in front of me. So um,
Ah, so, but they've been there,
they've been
right?
there the
But you didn't
entire.
see them.
Well, that's not that their position. That's not what they do.
So, when you look at that from an opportunity point of view, you're not, or a coach point of view, you're not putting people in the space they should be in because you're basically saying your job is to do this. But when
Yeah,
they surprise you, you say, oh, maybe your job is a little different now.
that's
Well,
it.
that's the opportunity, right?
That is the opportunity. We know if you put people in their talent, if you actually get them to focus on what they do best,
Yeah.
they are going to be brilliant at that. And that's why I think is wrong with the school system, right? If they're terrible at math, they're just terrible at math. They
Yeah,
don't need to do more math.
the schools and it's the school system and teachers are trying hard. I honor what they're doing and the system is there, but it was built on after World War II. It was built to make factory workers.
It
There's no
is.
surprise in that. Like we had to
But
get
we're not
going.
making that. The
No,
industrial era is gone. We're not making that anymore.
that's why it
So,
doesn't work anymore.
right. And we know Eric Anderson, right? You put 10,000 hours into something and you will be a master at that. So, why not come out of high school having that 10,000 hours put in, right?
Mhm.
Because you can use a calculator the rest of your life, kind
Yes.
of thing. If you're an amazing writer,
Yes.
you should be doing more writing. The fundamentals of math are important. The fundamentals of reading are important.
They
But
are.
what is the kid really good at? What does the kid fundamentally find so exciting that they'll read, that they'll actually play around with the thing and do the thing, right? And be excited every day to go to school. That's what I think we need to actually fulfill in our school systems. I know you and I are fulfilling it here at Dovico.
We're trying to, for sure.
For
Yeah.
we're absolutely trying to. If you've come to us and you are a developer, but we see that, oh my God, you're a graphic artist. You are a blogger. You are, we'll steer them to do more of that.
So what, like, if you had a chance to live a life where you could be surprised or you can have the same old thing over and over again, which one would you choose? Like, there's a risk in being surprised.
There is definitely a risk in
It
being
might,
surprised.
you could have sat at the bar and the people would have next to you would have been a drunk or they've been like, it could have been a bad
It
surprise.
could have been it could have been a bad surprise. Yeah, definitely. Uh, I don't ever go into anything though, if I'm trying something new to try to prove myself right. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I never do that anymore. Before I did, and I caught myself doing that. I'm gonna make this the worst experience, so he'll never want
It's
me to do that
it's like
again.
confirmation bias.
Right?
Like you look for the answer that you're already sure of.
Yeah.
This was what gossiping is about. Gossiping is looking for the answer that you already know. That's what
Right.
gossiping is. So there's no surprise in gossiping because you've already made up your mind of what that person is instead
Absolutely.
of discovering what that person can be,
Yeah.
right? So from a business point of view, gossiping, blaming, accusing, judging, there's no surprise in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
There's
no possibilities in that. You're just like stuck in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to me just yesterday, to tell you the honest truth. So I plant peppers every year really early. Peppers are to be planted
Oh,
early.
I saw that.
Did you
Yeah.
see
Well,
that?
you said, yeah, you
Oh yeah,
posted it.
I sent
But
that
you
to you, and I
posted it on
and I
Facebook.
posted it, right? Because I would take 15. It grows a whole lot of like one pepper, the top of one pepper with all the seeds, flick them off, put them in some dirt,
Mm.
and it'll grow a ridiculous amount of pepper plants. But I'll grab 15 out of there. I only need 15, and
Mhm.
I'll just garbage the rest,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
My husband says, plant all of them.
Hmm.
So I have containers that hold 72 plants.
Okay.
What am I going to do with 72 plants? That just seems ridiculous to me.
Maybe
But
pepper jam. I don't know.
okay, I'll plant. Well, I don't have the room to plant 72 pepper plants. So,
Uh-oh.
okay, I'll plant them all, Leonard. I'll plant them all, right? But to prove him wrong, right?
Ah.
Right? In my mind, I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
I mean, it doesn't take anything to do it. Put your finger in and plant them. I posted it yesterday because I thought, oh, I bet you people don't realize that you can just plant pepper plants from your pepper.
Right.
You know what I mean? From any pepper. And so I posted it, just a little informational. I got 10 people who were like, "Are you going to use all those plants?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." I literally have lists for people,
It's expensive to buy a pepper plant. They're like $6, $7 for sure.
and peppers. Buying 3 peppers is
Hmm.
$7,
Yeah.
right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the things that I plant. So interesting enough, where I was going to say, I was going to show him, well,
Mm.
here I planted them all, but what am I going to do with all those? I now have 10 of my
I
friends
love it.
who have reached out, and I literally have
Wow.
their names down, and I'll give them,
So
3 or 4 plants.
okay. So that's an opportunity to
Yeah. I
connect.
was surprised though.
Just surprise.
I was really surprised. I was really trying to show him in a month or so that, I'm gonna throw those out, Leonard.
So okay, that sounds like a. So we're giving you examples of where surprises work in life, right? And
Yeah.
you've been surprised.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to the office and see how
Yeah.
surprised. And so we just developed a new software called ShowUp,
Yep.
right? Or we can talk about timesheet actually. Let's talk about timesheet.
Okay.
So timesheet has been like we've been doing that for 30 years. Like, do we know the answer to the outcome of how to build a timesheet? Oh my God, we're so stuck in the comfortable. It's unbelievable, right?
Well, we've been doing it for a really long time. We are timesheet.
We are timesheet. So we there's no surprises there. Now, where have you been surprised? And I've been surprised in the last 2 weeks. Where have you been surprised in timesheet in the last 2 weeks?
Well, with every
Yeah.
meeting, I have been surprised in timesheet. What we can actually do with timesheet now, how we can automate timesheet now, how we can bring AI into timesheet now, how it actually it's taken us to the opposite. It's no you no longer have to do your timesheet.
Right. So whereas the past would have been this is how you do timesheet. And I'm talking the past like a year
A
ago.
year ago.
Right?
Yeah,
A year ago, we
absolutely.
said, this is how you do timesheet. Now that we've embraced this new way of being surprised or being like able to see differently, right? Able to see that we're looking for confirmation bias. Like
Yeah.
you keep, and the result that was happening is we weren't growing because we kept doing the same thing differently,
Yeah.
right? So we're comfortable. We're always waiting for the table. Since nobody at the table, so we're gonna go look for another restaurant, another restaurant. Like we're looking for that table instead of saying, "No, I want to be surprised. I want to have that ice cream. I want to have that old fashioned. I want to sit at the bar." Like you're open to that possibility, and it's the same thing with timesheets. So now we, as a company, are able to be surprised instead of saying, "No, this is the way we've done it." Like this is the fallacy the brain kind of plays on you is like it's looking to solve the problem the same way you've solved it in the past,
Totally.
right? It's analyzing it with emotions, and emotion comes from the past. So when you're trying to come up with a solution that you already know the answer to, you're basically doing the same thing over and again. So that's why you're not growing. That's not that, how do you become, and we've seen people become billionaires in one lifetime. You cannot tell me this is not possible. You
Yeah.
can, so if you're focused on becoming a billionaire, how do you become a billionaire? You have to stop thinking in the physical world. You have to stop thinking in the quantum world. In the quantum world, you're not looking for A plus B equals C or 1 plus 1 equals 2. You're looking for 1 plus 1 equals 111, right? And
Totally.
that is in the surprise. And that's what's happening at Dovico. We're saying, oh, there's another way. What is the problem? Nobody likes to fill in timesheets. Oh, let's do it for them.
Let's make sure that they don't have to ever fill in another
Right?
timesheet. Yeah.
That's that simple.
Yeah.
Duh.
Can we just be honest with ourselves and understand that nobody fills into the, to the second?
Mm.
Because people don't fill into the second. We
Right? They
we
don't care.
understand that. And do you know what? Either does the payables clerk when they're billing it, and either does the leaders. We want a rough estimate about how much it cost us. Do
Absolutely.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We want to make sure that we're grabbing our billable hours. We want to make sure that we do that, but it doesn't have to be down to the second.
Doesn't matter.
So if we don't track our time, because what we do know is people will fudge it about 20% and never fudge it over. They'll always fudge it under. So they're stealing about 20% of their time. And in actuality, if we don't ever track the time, because you don't have to track the time, this thing knows
It
exactly
does
where
for
you
you.
were,
Mhm.
always, kind of thing. Now you don't even have to have anxiety about how long it took you. It just
Yes.
automatically fills in. Let it go. Absolutely
Love
let
it.
it go. And we have to be super, super open to not being so sure that we have the answer to this, right? This automation.
Yeah.
If we're so sure that this automation is going to work for everybody out there, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. So we're not open. We're in observation and in discovery of what this automation is and allowing for our customers to come back and say, what's good, what's bad, and how it can be improved,
Love
right?
it.
We do not have the answers. Oh, surprise yourself. Make sure you're surprised. We're going to finish on the hour
Oh,
today.
so before
Oh,
we do that, I
yeah.
have an event coming on Wednesday. Just wanted to do that little
Okay.
announcement. Can we do that?
Yeah.
So I have an event with the Chamber of Commerce coming up. We're
Oh, I
going to
forgot all about it.
talk about, well, I'm going to talk about, actually, you're going to be friggin' surprised. I can tell you that. This is going to
Yeah.
be a presentation like you've never had before. So
Mm.
you're going to be surprised. We're going to talk about, mental health, or sorry, wellness from a mind point of view, because a mind plays a lot on your mental on your wellness in the office. So we're going to talk about the mind of a leader, the mind of an employee, the mind of a partner, and how that affects wellness in the workplace. And the wellness being, how people show up. They're in a good mood, they're in a bad mood, how they produce. We're going to talk about that.
Love
And it's
that.
going to be something you've never experienced before. I can guarantee it. It's on Wednesday. You can get your ticket at the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe
Yeah,
Diane can put the link.
Deanne's
Perfect.
posted the
She's on
link.
it. Look at
Thank you,
that.
Deanne.
Thank you. I will have a little surprise for you. And so I hope to see you there at 12 o'clock. I think it's at the top of the St. James Gate. And tickets
Awesome.
are affordable. And
Yeah,
come and be surprised. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
If you have issues with your team that is they're not showing up, they're leaving you. If you have issues with your team that are sick a lot or people aren't energized in their work, it's all to do with wellness. Everything has to do with wellness in that state. So come and be surprised on Wednesday, 12 o'clock.
Wellness in the workplace.
Mhm.
That's where it all begins. Love it. All right. So I'm Shelley Butler.
I mean, just that.
Love you. Get your workout in. And how are you showing up?